So hello everyone, I'm very happy to be here at AIIMS Bhubaneswar. I'm a person who normally runs away from doctors. My father was a hypochondriac. I used to have a vitamin C for breakfast when I was a child and a tetanus every other day. So when I was adult enough to take my own decisions, I ran away from doctors. So much so that once I went to a doctor and he asked me, I don't believe in God. Why should I go to a temple? So I understood that doctors also have sarcasm. But anyway, jokes apart, today I'm going to talk to you about an idea about making bonds with trees. An idea that we have been pursuing for the last 15 years in my personal life, in the work of what I do in public as well. So much so that 10 years back when I got married and I announced the news to my close friends. One of my close friends asked me, who are you getting married to? To a tree? Well, that's my wife, but I still climb trees now. But that's the kind of relationship we have. The story goes back to 2009. You know, when, I think we'll still have some, yeah. I think we'll not have more technical glitches now, yeah. So the story goes back to 2009. I grew up in Bhubaneswar. In 2009, there were large-scale cutting down of trees. You know, and this is what a friend did, and wonderful way of communicating through art the trees that are not there, the trees that have been cut. And it was disorienting for us. We wanted to do something. And of course, we hear about climate change and all of that. 2009, by the way, that time, it was the hottest year in human history. Of course, every year, the hottest year, keeps advancing. Every year becomes the new hottest year, but that time it was the hottest year as well. We thought, let's do something, right? Of course, many of our volunteers said, let's plant as many trees as possible. Thousands of trees. We did plant many trees. Yeah. We planted many trees. Many of them have grown now in the city of Bhubaneswar, outside. There are about 500 trees that are in formative stages, but there was always a challenge. And the challenge was, what could an ordinary individual do? How many trees can we plant? Because the important part is not just planting trees, but nurturing them. They grow up, okay? Because that is a challenge. And there was always, we could always plant a few trees, not more than that. Okay, but then that's significant enough, but we always were a little more ambitious. Could we do more? Can we just be a smaller version of bigger corporates or governments, or could we do something more? And that was the idea with which we had started Bakul also, my organization. What an ordinary individual could do. In fact, my first TEDx talk was titled, The Power of Small Contributions. The basic idea being, the main provocation for me was that, I was bothered with a lot of cynicism in people like us. So what if I do this? So what if I plant 5 trees? Things are not going to change. Things will not change, the world will not change. How can I address climate change with that? And so the idea was how to demonstrate the power of these small contributions, what ordinary individuals could do. And so we started something, and of course there was this other thing. I don't know how many of you have heard of this. Lynn White Jr. wrote a seminal essay in 1967. 1960s is when the global environmental crisis really exploded. And he wrote a very popular and very famous essay in the magazine called Science, called The Historical Roots of Ecological Crisis, where he talked about the main reason being how with the Judeo-Christian tradition, with religion and with the Industrial Revolution, the problem is the shift in the way we looked at nature. From seeing spirits in trees, spirit in nature, seeing divinity in nature, we started seeing nature as something which had to be exploited. In fact, the basic premise of modern science and technology was how do you exploit nature for human good. So that was the basic root of the ecological crisis, he said. And we realized that there lies a lot of truth there. For instance, I mean, think about it. I mean, on our roadsides here, if there is a temple under a tree, then that tree is the last to be cut. Similarly, we have practices of people worshipping trees, or I don't know if any of you know of this. Sorry. Yeah. Of course, when you think about environmental movements, you think about people hugging trees. The famous one being the Chipko Andolan of the 1970s, where there were people, there were factories that were out to log the trees for sports goods, but then women in Uttarakhand, they hugged the trees and stopped the people from felling them. But actually the original, the OG, tree huggers were actually the Bishnois. I'm sure many of you have heard of Lawrence Bishnoi and his threat to Salman Khan and the whole black buck controversy. So 300 years back, actually Amrita Devi and women, so the king of Jodhpur wanted a palace to be built and he asked for the trees to be cut. And the women went and hugged the trees. And more than 300 women actually gave their lives to protect those trees. And that is when the king of Jodhpur, forbade the cutting of trees and killing of animals. That's the Bishnoi community. So those are the images. But then, why did they do that? Because they had a personal bond with trees. The trees were not just wood. It was not just wood there, to be calculated, to be used for houses or factories or whatever. The trees meant something to them. That was the need of the hour. We heard stories of one of the colleges in Bhubaneswar organizing a plantation drive, and one of the students actually planted the sapling with the polythene in it. Now, it was not his mistake. He didn't know that he was supposed to peel off the polythene before planting it, because he had never planted a tree himself. And that is the problem with many of us growing up in the cities. We are disconnected from nature. We know a lot about everything, but we can't identify the trees in our campus, the trees in our neighborhood, in our house. So how do we develop that personal bond with trees was the main challenge, the main idea that we wanted to work on. So for example, we say, this is my house, this is my car, this is my boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. We are so possessive about our possessions. Do we say, this is my tree, I won't let anyone take it away from me? Does any of us here have, like we say, my house, my car? Do we say my tree? Do we have a my tree? For us, that was the idea. And then we started working on this idea in many different ways. So we went ahead with plantation, but I'll just tell you what this young girl, Sanvi of 7 years old, what is she saying? But this plantation now was a very personal plantation. We thought that the discourse around plantation had to change. If the goal is plantation, then people forget about it after the plantation is over. But what if we change the discourse from plantation to parenting of plants? If I parent a plant, if the goal is parenting of plants, goal is not how many trees you have planted, but goal is how many trees you have parented, then plantation is just the first step. Our challenge always is, and that is what I always tell people, how many trees have you planted that have grown bigger than you? That is the challenge. I see a lot of young people here. The challenge should be, how many trees have we planted that grow to be bigger than us? And that is important. So this girl, Sanvi, is talking about how, this is her tree. She's the mother of this plant and she feels so proud that this is her plant. And then she talks about other trees which her mother, her grandmother have parented, and this is her plant. See, unfortunately the problem with plantation is we plant trees and then we forget about them. Retired chief secretary, he just retired recently, he told me how when he was a collector, he was invited to a tree plantation program at a school, and the next year he was again invited to the same school. And he asked, well, I was here the last year. What happened to those trees? That they didn't survive. We'll have the plantation again. So it goes into this loop. And that is because we plant and we forget. There's no personal connection with the trees. So how can we develop that personal connection with the trees is what was the idea. And so, for example, if you have plantation, we can have memorial plantation. Plant trees in memory of people who have departed. Inspired by this, there was a former forest secretary. When he was a forest secretary, he started something called the Smriti Van. I also saw that there is a Smriti Upavan just outside the AIIMS auditorium, inside the AIIMS campus. So the Smriti Van, which is near DN Regalia, is inspired by the My Tree campaign. You plant trees in memory of near and dear ones. So for example, the other day the law minister was at Bakul, and he said that during COVID his brother-in-law, his Saleh Sahab, he passed away, and on his birthday or on Raksha Bandhan, his wife and he actually go to Smriti Van to pay respects to him, and he was in tears. That's the kind of, because the tree is not just a tree, it is that brother or that sister or that mother or that father. The tree means something to you. It's not just a piece of wood or fruits or whatever. Similarly, of course, in the earlier image, that's a young boy who's tying a rakhi at our call to his grandfather's tree at Smriti Van. But similarly, as I said, on Raksha Bandhan, we asked people, hundreds of children participated, I don't know if any of you were there, who responded to a call and tied rakhis to trees, not just impersonal trees, but trees at home or trees in the neighborhood, to have a personal relationship and ensure that this tree flourishes, grows, and they are the parents of that tree. Similarly, Ganesh Puja. Think about it. Ganesh with an elephant head and a human body is a perfect example of unity of all creation, the animal world and the human world, right? And I hope you like the little mouse there, right? So Ganesh Puja, so this is in Forest Park. Every year we have been celebrating Tree Ganesh. So earlier this year, some months back, when there was this announcement that some trees will be cut in Forest Park because of the metro, we were up in protest. We wrote to the government. We said we can't allow that because that's a tree that we worship, right? So the tree was not just a tree in Forest Park for us. It was Tree Ganesh for us. So we could not allow that to be cut. So similarly, the other thing was, how do we, make this viral? And when we were starting this campaign, one of our volunteers said, we can't tell people plant trees. We were thinking about what could be that one viral idea. We love these medical metaphors, particularly after the pandemic. And he said, let's have the slogan, Abhe sala gotha laga, Abhe sala ped laga. Because plant a tree, save the world, they're all cliches. We hear so much of it. Whether we like it or not, we suffer from instruction overdose. Do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. So much so that it goes through one ear and goes out from the other. So what could we do? What was missing? And that is why we realized that what was missing was, can we focus on an idea of gifting of plants? We wanted to make it cultural. See, because when it becomes cultural, then automatically things take care of themselves. Because it becomes a part of the everyday lives of people. It is not limited to one person. Right? And gifting is a very important part of culture. But yeah, there basically, if you've seen the fog ad, it says, तोहफे में फूल दोगे ना फूल क्यों दोगे, वो फूल मुरझा जाएंगे, तोहफा ऐसे दो जो काम आए. And we just placed our little ad in it that you can gift a tree. So that is what we thought, that just imagine, if we gift a tree, no words being spoken, what happens? The very act of gifting a tree is a very important message. It's a very powerful non-verbal message. Everyone who notices the tree being gifted realizes the importance of planting trees. But no words have been spoken. No verbal overdose. And maybe someone loves the idea and says, wow, it's a cool idea. I can do it myself. Not only that, a lot of people will have a lot of inhibitions, about gifting plants. Log kya sochenge? What will people think if I gift a plant? Right? But the more people see plants being gifted, the more it is normalized. And so what we thought is, let's have this big campaign where our main objective is, when people think about gifts, can they think of a tree? How do we do that? For example, there's a birthday of a 2-year-old. I keep thinking, acha ladka hai ya ladki, kitne saal ka hai, kya doon, what do I give? At that moment, does the thought come in that I can also gift a tree? And so we had this campaign, and all of you are welcome to join, where hundreds of people have their own posters like this. Something cheeky, like I got one for attending classes, I got one for eating chicken, but the basic thing is you don't need a reason to gift a tree. And we have had a lot of other ways of reaching out to people, whether it is these posters which have gone to hoardings, standees, etc. But along with that, we have many other initiatives, simple ideas. See, for example, if you ask your parents, when they got married, they would have got 5 dinner sets, okay, or 3 pressure cookers, but that changed. So similarly, now the culture can change to gifting plants. And think about it, the teddy bear is torn, the chocolates are gone, the bouquet is trashed, but this is a gift that grows, right? This is the only gift that stays. And so, now because birthdays are not so common, I have my birthday only once a year. So any occasion, whether it's a personal event or a public festival, we say you can gift a plant. Yeah. So for example, on Valentine's Day, why gift a rose? Gift a rose plant. It's like gifting a rose. Your girlfriend or boyfriend will remember you forever. So any occasion, Santa Claus, gifting trees. Any occasion, whether it is Diwali, Raksha Bandhan, you can gift a tree, right? And you know why Christmas is celebrated with evergreen trees? Because it's cold in the Western world, but the evergreen tree represents hope. So it was but just a natural thing. So one of the things also we do is very simple idea of celebrating fake birthdays. See, what you can also do is, let's say you guys are hanging out. It's a concept called invisible theater, where you do theater but no one realizes it is theater. Okay, so you go anywhere, you're hanging out at a cafe or something, you just take a little gift plant with you and do a little drama. Hey, happy birthday! Pose for pictures and make the act of gifting a tree. Everyone around notices that a tree is being gifted. Okay, they get the idea. That's how an idea spreads. I won't go with the presentation now. I'll just end with one thing. The last initiative that we started just last month is something called the Twin Tree Campaign. And that is something that will, I'm sure, resonate with all of you. The idea being, on the birth of every newborn child, we give trees to the parents of the newborn child. So that the tree and the child grow up as twins. When the child grows up, so the tree is there as a twin of the child. Because parents are superstition. I have seen, when I've gifted a tree on the birth of a child, like in Odisha we have this concept of equisia, if I've gifted at the birth of the child or at the first birthday, the parents have definitely planted it and nurtured it. So that is what I would urge all of you to do, to gift plants. We have a superhero called Dedi Loku. Dedi Loku goes around, to schools, malls, everywhere, and he promotes this idea of gifting plants. And I would urge you all to be like Dedi Loku and to gift plants and to develop a bond with trees. Thank you very much. Sorry about this little technical problems with this. That's the Twin Tree campaign that we launched. Thank you.